Hello everyone, Matt Wenzel, Michigan State football beat writer for MLive.com, here with Aaron McMahon, Michigan football beat writer, who makes 2 trips to East Lansing this week. Second time will be on Saturday when Michigan State hosts Michigan. So it's halfway through the season. Where's Michigan at, and what do you see from them?
Riding a wave of momentum. You know, they've won 6 in a row now. They're unbeaten in the Big Ten. They're coming off what I think is by far their best win of the season against Wisconsin on Saturday. Things are going right. You know, offensively, defensively. Offensively, Shea Patterson and the offensive line, they found the rhythm. You know, this is a group we were unsure about coming into the year. A lot of hype around Shea and everything else. I think it was a relatively slow start from the fans' perspective. They wanted a little bit more early on, but they've been growing every week. And then, you know, defensively, Michigan's defense came in, you know, nationally expected to be in the top 5. They are right now. They're number 2, the number 1 pass defense. So right now, Michigan's clicking all cylinders. They're where they want to be heading into Saturday.
Mentioning where you want to be, I can't say that Michigan State is at that same level right now. They, they returned 19 starters on both sides of the ball from a 10-3 team last year, and then they lost 2 of their first 5 games this year, including a disappointing loss against Northwestern a couple weeks ago. And then last week they go and win on the road at Penn State, a top 10 victory against, in a game that pretty much nobody was picking them to win. So, I mean, that's changed things a little bit, but overall, I mean, Brian Lewerke has not been at his best. A few too many turnovers, I think 7 interceptions, 2 fumbles after 7 picks all of last year. The running game struggled a lot. LJ Scott has missed 4 straight games due to injury. Defensively, their D-line has been very consistent, and the run D overall has been, well, it's been their biggest positive so far, number 1 in the country in that. Against the pass, they haven't been as good. I think giving up 280 some yards a game or whatever it is. Part of that, I think, is a product of teams abandoning the run and just throwing the ball 45 times a game on them. So those numbers get a little bigger. But overall, mixed bag, and it'll be interesting to see how they take the first half of the season, which has been littered with a lot of injuries, if they can get healthier, and what that can translate to the second half of the season. As far as Saturday, what do you see happening, and what's your outcome?
You know, you mentioned Michigan State's run defense, and that's been a hallmark of Jim Harbaugh's offense. This year, last year, every year he's been here. You know, they like to establish the run game and then open it up to the pass. They've done that pretty much every game this season. Karan Higgins had 4 straight 100-yard games. He's done a good job on the ground. They were unsuccessful last week against Wisconsin. Took them, 1 half or so to get it going. I don't expect them to abandon the run game, especially early on. I don't foresee Shea Patterson having to throw it 45 times. However, I do expect them to take some more chances down the field. You know, they've seen Shea is hit with receiver Nico Collins. He's been successful with his tight ends going down the field. They're going to have to do that, I think, to win this game. But I do think Michigan has a little bit more success on the ground than maybe some previous opponents. And then defensively, I think Michigan's defense it's been weird because early on, especially on the road, they've struggled. They've given up some points early on. They've been penalized a ton. They've really cleaned that up the last couple of weeks. And like I mentioned earlier, they're still ranked number 2 in the country. Pass defense has really turned on the last few weeks. So it's, in talking to the players this week, they realize Brian Lewerke is a threat with his arm, but they also realize he's a threat with his leg. So I think, Michigan is on guard for several things here now. They're playing good football. So yeah, we'll see.
As far as the game overall, I think there's more pressure obviously on Michigan. They're number 6 in the nation or whatever it is. So the win last week for Michigan State changed things, because now all of a sudden you go from a 3-2 disappointment to a top 10 win against one of the Big East powers, or Big Ten East Division powers, I should say. And then now all of a sudden they control their own destiny in the division race again. So you beat Michigan this weekend, and everything changes. But as far as what to look for, I think Mark D'Antonio talked a week ago about trying to run the ball 40 times a game and having success in that. And go back and look, and they're 70 and 8 in instances where they do that. So they're always going to try to run the ball, but I think Brian Lewerke is going to have his best game of the year. He's going to have to make plays with his arm and his legs like he did in Ann Arbor last year, though it was mostly with his legs last year, given some of the conditions of the game, obviously. But defensively, just keep stopping the run like they've done for the most part. They got hit for more than 200 last week against Penn State, but the majority of that was on 2 big plays. So keep bottling up the run, and then force Shea Patterson to make some mistakes, force him to air it out, and try to create some turnovers. Make it a close game, and you never know. Mark D'Antonio's 8-3 against Michigan, and the 3 losses are by a combined 15 points. So they've dominated the rivalry, and when they haven't won, it's still been a close game. So find a way to keep it close, and make a couple plays late, you never know. That said, I took Michigan to win 20-17, but would not be surprised if it ended up a different way. What do you got for a score?
Yeah, I think it'll be a close one. These games typically are. I think on paper, Michigan is the better team. They have more talent. However, we saw last week Michigan State has this propensity to play up to their opponents and play well and pull off upsets. I'm not disclaiming any of that. I think Michigan State does have a chance here. I think it ends up being closer than maybe on paper it should be. If this was any other opponent, if this was Wisconsin or this was Northwestern or whatever, at this point in the season, I'd be picking Michigan to win handily. I don't think this happens on Saturday. I think Michigan wins, but it's a one-score game. I took Michigan 21 to 17.
All right. Well, we'll find out on Saturday, and you can come back to MLive.com for all your coverage.